Welcome back, everyone, to Recruiting Thursday here on the Westmoreland Sports Network. Jack Ridenour with you all today, and I'm now joined by current wrestler and football player for the Greater Latrobe Wildcats and recent Kent State wrestling commit, Corey Boerio. Corey, first off, congratulations on the big commitment. Thanks so much for joining us today. How does it feel to finally get that decision done and kind of get that weight lifted off your shoulders a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. As soon as I made my commitment, I felt at ease. I was glad with it. I wanted to go there, and when I finally announced it, everything just got a little easier.
Yeah, and especially especially with it being your last year of high school, I'm sure now you can really enjoy that senior year of high school. But want to hear what made you want to decide on Kent State? I mean, what drew you to the school and the program?
Yeah, so when I first got there on my official visit, I had Coach Andrassi, and then I saw Coach Malik. He wrestled 197 NC State. And at Latrobe, I have a coach, Coach Paul Snyder, who wrestled at Hofstra at heavyweight. And just when he came in my sophomore year, just being able to work with him one-on-one whenever I wanted to really helped me grow from sophomore to junior, and definitely this upcoming year, junior to senior. Just knowing I'll have a guy at Kent State like Malik to help me out every single time I need it just really drew my attention for sure.
And I think that's so important to find in a program where you're going to go and continue your athletic career, find a coach that you're comfortable with and someone that you know you can rely on and trust also. But I know you're a football player as well. I want to hear, I mean, was it hard to decide between football and wrestling? I mean, had you ever at least considered maybe playing football in college?
Yeah, especially junior high for sure. I was back and forth. But as soon as I hit high school, I knew I started to fall in love with wrestling fully. I always loved the sport, but then I hit high school. I had a great team. I got Coach Mears, and as soon as he really came, I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew I wanted to wrestle in college.
Well, when did you start wrestling? I mean, when did you first get on the mat and start wrestling?
It was kindergarten. I liked WWE, saw a flyer, thought I'd be going off the top rope, and it's not that, but I'm glad I got into it. So kindergarten, so I was probably like 5 or 6.
So then how much longer after did you start getting into football eventually?
I think football was the same age, 5 or 6. Flag football.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So I'm guessing growing up, it was kind of a constant back and forth. You'd have football, you'd have wrestling, back and forth, back and forth. Are you glad, that you'll eventually just have one sport that you'll have to worry about? You won't have to worry about running from one place to the next?
Yeah, for sure. Especially, and even when I was little, up until high school, I played, up until like COVID hit, I played baseball as well. So I was juggling 3 sports. And then when I stopped baseball, you could see the improvement for my wrestling and football go up because I had that time to focus on those 2. So I think I'm going to make an even bigger jump when I'm just wrestling all year, like fully. I still wrestle during football season, but sometimes the energy goes to football as well.
Do you find it that you're often fatigued at some points because you're having to go from football and wrestling and you're doing it both in the same season?
Not really. I like I said, I love wrestling. I love football. So like today I had football and then I worked out after, and it's just the same mindset. I'm getting better for both when I'm lifting, running, whatever it is. So I mean, yeah, I get tired, but at the end of the day, I'm 17, so I got a lot of energy.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're in great shape. And especially being 17 years old. I remember when I was 17 years old, it was hard to keep me sitting down. So yeah, I definitely get you on that one. But I'm glad you bring up the fact that the 2 sports kind of, they kind of complement each other. When you're working out for one, you're basically working out for the other in some sort of regard. So how have you felt that the 2 sports have complemented each other? I mean, how has your football gotten better because of wrestling? And then how has your wrestling gotten better because of football?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely like tackling, getting low on those, going for tackle. Now I do play a little high, and they always like make fun of me because I am a wrestler, so I should be low. But like getting low, breaking down really helps, and the side to side movement helps a lot. And then wrestling conditioning helps football conditioning, but I can't say the opposite. When I come out of football, I'm a little fatigued when I start wrestling practice because it's more of those short bursts. But like, yeah, just getting low, staying low, coming downfield, attacking. Just honestly competing is the big thing.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm glad you bring up the aspect of conditioning, because I remember when I was in high school watching the wrestlers condition, it was kind of mind boggling because us basketball players, we'd be getting out of practice a half an hour before. And it's like, well, shouldn't we also be running? And it was the wrestling team that was always running. So that first, I'm guessing, week or 2 for you is pretty tough. How do you make that adjustment? I mean, do you just kind of jump right into it and say, I know that these first 2 weeks are going to be terrible, but it'll get easier after that?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. And then like, I know our coach Mears, is like a cross country trail. He likes to call it. It's just like, it's a hill. It's like 2 miles. So I try to run that on weekends during football season. And then, yeah, it's just honestly jumping into it, knowing the mindset that once I get my win back for wrestling, it'll become easier.
Absolutely. I think it's, it's kind of getting through that little hump. And then once you're past that, then you start to really get into that rhythm, into that groove. But I know that you've had a lot of memorable matches on the mat, throughout your entire career. And I would love to hear just what are some of the most memorable ones for you. But do you have one that stands out from the rest of them as almost a favorite match that you've been in?
Yeah, I'm trying to, I can't remember who it was who I wrestled, but it was my sophomore year, and I beat him in overtime. Or I don't know. I beat him close match. I got a nice takedown at the end of the match. I can't remember who that is, but it got me to third and fourth in the whippeal, which on a normal year would have got me to states, but because of COVID, I didn't get to go. I took fourth. I lost in third and fourth place match. But just as a sophomore, knowing I was top 4 in the whippeal honestly helped my mindset so much. And that next week, I wanted to get to work because I didn't want to be one match short. So that match, I wish I could tell you it is. I'm going to definitely look it up after this. But beating him to get there really changed my whole mindset of a switch of, oh, I'm there, I can do this. And I never looked back from then.
So that was probably a big confidence booster for you, I'm guessing?
Yeah, for sure. It was a match I don't think I was supposed to win. I went out there and I won it.
And that's got to be such a great feeling when you are the underdog and you prove everybody wrong. But I'm also glad you brought up the aspect of COVID, because I'm sure, with wrestling being such a contact sport, that had to have been pretty interesting for you guys, especially during the pandemic. I mean, what was so unique about that? How hard and how challenging was it to be able to go up against opponents, especially with all of the rules and regulations that were in place?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of distractions. Luckily, our administration at Latrobe, they didn't make us wear a mask during practice or while we wrestled, so that was a bonus for us. But it was distractions. I remember a workout, we were all there, and we had the news up or something, and they closed down the schools or something for the second time, and we were nervous because it was right at the start of the wrestling season. So we knew there'd be definitely some challenges, but luckily we all stick together. We were doing workouts at home, sending them back in as a team, pushing each other, getting on each other when we missed one. And honestly, it's just the team aspect that helped us all get through it. Just knowing that he's working, my partner's working as much as me, so I got to keep it up.
So were you guys basically just recording your workouts and then you'd almost send it into coach and or how would that work?
We didn't really record it. We had our strength coach send out workouts, and we'd go on Zoom calls just like this, and we just talk about our lift, or we just come in, talk about our day, anything. Coach Mears was great because it was the year he came in. So he was really trying to get a bond with us, and it's tough to do that over computer, but he did really good at starting over computer. And then when we finally all got back together, we didn't skip a beat. We all knew each other. We were all close. So
that's incredible.
Really yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's incredible, because that is not an easy task at all. I mean, especially when you have no physical contact, you can't interact with anyone. Everything's over Zoom. I mean, I'm sure though the first week or two was a little bit awkward. I mean, how did that awkwardness kind of get broken down a little bit?
With the new coach, or what do you mean?
Yeah, just with the new coach and having to meet him, through Zoom basically.
Yeah, he did a great job, and again, we got a few workouts in before they reshut it down. But he did an amazing job just coming in and talking to us on Zoom, got us to open up. He asked about our day, which seems dumb when you're in high school and you're a kid, but just coming in knowing he's taking time out of his day, out of his family. And he was athletic director at that time too, to talk to us, and really felt a bond start. And then as soon as we got in there, he was I'm your friend, but I'm going to push you type guy. So it was just great getting back into it. Yeah. Without him, I wouldn't be here right now for sure.
Yeah, and I think that is such an impactful thing, right? When you have a coach, especially at the high school level, that is taking, like I mentioned earlier, about a coach where you're eventually going to go to at Kent State that you feel comfortable with. That is such an important thing for an athlete at any level, because it just allows for that relationship, player and coach relationship, to really, build and become something that can become something very, very important. But I know that you've had a lot of success on your side, especially last season. I know you've probably got a lot of momentum coming into this season. What are the expectations that you're setting for yourself? And then also, what are the expectations that your team has set for each other and just as a group?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the same for both. I want to be state champ, and the team wants to be state champs. Last year, team, we made it to semis, and then Nate went down. So that was a big hurt to the team, because Nate's a great wrestler, Nate Roth. So when he went down, the goal shifted, of course, because he's out. He's a great wrestler. So this year we're coming back. I think we took top 6 last year. They didn't wrestle the 5th and 6th match, so we were right there in that 5th or 6th match. But then this year again, it starts small, win whips, not small, but like we want to win whips. We want to get that ring, and then as soon as that's done, eyes on the state championship.
Yeah, you got to take it one step at a time. You got to take
For
one
sure.
step at a time.
Yeah.
I had a teacher growing up that told me can never get to step 2 without going through step 1. So you always got to go through that progression. But I know you have another fellow Division I athlete on the team in Vinny Kilkeary, and I know he has made a lot of noise in the wrestling world, just like yourself. What's it been like to have him in the wrestling room and just to have as a teammate? And also, how much of an impact has he had on your wrestling career?
Yeah, for sure. The biggest thing I can say is just knowing that he's working. He's out there working out. Like there was a Sunday, maybe 2 weeks ago, I was watching football. It was like 5 o'clock. I felt lazy. I didn't work out. So I go up, I run 2 miles. And as I'm walking up the hill, because our football field's down at the bottom in our track, if you ever been to the high school, I'm walking up and I see him walking down. So it's just great to know that like I'm leaving, just got my workout in. He's come in and work out. Just that little like, hey, what's up? What you do? What are you doing? Just really builds the team chemistry too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it kind of gives that inner kind of
Like
not only competition. Yeah, the competition of it is so important. And I think, you can push each other and then ultimately your team gets better and then you guys can go out and compete even at a higher level. But I know it's football season. We've talked a lot about wrestling. We want to stay in the here and now. I know you're coming off a big week last week, not only individually, but team wise, big win over Ringgold. You scored a couple touchdowns. What was it like just to be able to get those scores in the end zone, but then also continue to build on this little win streak you guys have been able to build up?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. If we beat Connellsville this Friday, we make playoffs, and that was one of our goals checked off. But yeah, again, this team's really clicking. It started again. We just got a new coach as a team. So that whole summer process, he did a great job getting our trust, getting us confident, and really changing the culture at Latrobe. And I think you can see it little. We're starting slow, but I think we're going to keep seeing it more and more as we come. But again, we have a great team chemistry. Like if I'm scoring for Rob scoring, if Colin, John, whoever's scoring, we're all happy for each other. If anything, we get more excited for the other person when they score. So it's just great having a team knowing that they all have my back and I have theirs.
Well, I know that, again, on a 2-game winning streak and able to kind of put behind the 3-game losing streak that you had prior to that, what do you think has been the difference between those two opposite-ended streaks? I mean, what has been going on during this 2-game winning streak that might have been lacking during the 3-game losing streak?
Yeah, so during the losing streak, it started against Henfield. That was a tough one. We came out slow in the second half. I think it was 21-14 going in the half. We came out slow, got beat up. And then the next week we played TJ. I think we lose 31-21. And that second half we gave up. We won the second half 7-3. So we scored and only gave up 3 points in the whole second half. And right there, that mindset just switches where you're like, we're in this. Instead of like, oh, it's a name. Instead of looking at the name, we're like, we're in this. So that next week we go down to a talented Laurel Highlands comes to us, and we lose 10-7. So when you're giving up small points, the offense just got to click. So that was the big emphasis. The week after we played, Trinity. The whole emphasis was the offense got to get moving to help the defense, and we put up 31 points there. And then last week we put up 42. So just when those two, defense is a lot easier when the offense is moving the ball. I should say that. And when the offense is the ball, we look great.
And you've got all this momentum on your side, and like you said, with a big matchup with Connellsville this week, an opportunity to clinch playoffs too. I'm sure you guys want to really try and keep putting your foot on the gas pedal right now. What's going to be key and important for you guys to really finish this season strong and carry that momentum into the playoffs? Yeah,
we just have to stay focused. We know what our goals are, and we can't get sloppy. So like after we clinch that playoff, we play another team we would play McKeesport next week. We got to come out flying the same way we played the last 2 weeks, and hopefully how we play this week. And that's the mindset they're going to be telling us, and that's the mindset I'm going to be telling the team as well. Just keep the gas on the pedal. We got this momentum. We're going to be, if we win this these next 3 weeks, let's keep going. Let's not take a step backward.
Yeah, it's always about the progression, moving forward. You don't want to take those 2 steps back. You want to take those 3 steps forward and keep going forward and forward and forward. But Corey, you've been great to get on the program today. Thanks so much for stopping by. Before we let you run, just want to hear, what are you most excited for heading into your final high school wrestling season?
I'm just excited to be with the team. I have a lot of great bonds. And honestly, like that trip to Colorado we did last year, like I realized how much fun it is around those guys. And we're all pretty successful, so that also helps with it. But it's a blast. I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna miss the team a lot for sure when I go away.
Well, I know that you've got football season first to complete before you hit the mat, but good luck this Friday and good luck the rest of the season in football and also for wrestling. And congratulations on the big commitment as well.
Thank you so much. It's an honor.